and welcome to Knights at the Game Table. We are once again playing with M19 cards. In this episode, we have the Knights going head-to-head against everyone's deck that they love to hate. Aryeh loves it already.
Yeah.
Against the red deck wins. Who's going to win in this episode? Watch the game and find out. To keep up to date with everything at Knights at the Game Table, all you have to do is click subscribe and then hit that tiny little notification button next to it, so every time we upload a new video, YouTube will be sure to let you know. Okay, so once again, I'm joined by Aryeh, who built these two decks. You built a red deck, man.
Yeah, so there's no discussion of post M19 standard that's complete without Goblin Chainwhirler. Okay?
Goblin Chainwhirler is going to be here. Now, while you're watching this episode, you might be thinking, you know what, I don't care about that Goblin Chainwhirler. I want a box of M19, and you can have one. If you leave a comment down below and share this video, we will enter you into our monthly draw to win a booster box, a Magic the Gathering box, completely for free, which we'll be sending out to one lucky winner. So make sure you leave a comment down below and share this video so you too get the opportunity to win a box. Aryeh, this is it. This is the start. So these guys have got 3 cards laid out in front of them. They're doing this very interesting way to work out who's going to go first. All right.
This is rock, paper, scissors. By far the best way to decide who goes first in Magic. And as we know, paper tiger, not so good against scissors lizard. So, that's how we start this off.
So that's going to be the Knight deck, which is being played by Ryan. Now, Ryan's a pretty competent player, right? He's competed at Worlds. Yeah.
He competed at the first Worlds all the way back in 1994. And he's been a good player for that whole stretch of time. So, quite a while.
And last week, he, of course, destroyed Tad, who had the approach ramp, approach the second sun deck with the Knight deck. And he's playing the same Knight deck now, right?
Correct. Yeah, cool deck. We didn't really get to see approach do its thing, but we definitely saw Johnny do his thing.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to see whether Johnny can fight the Goblin Chainwhirler menace, we'll say.
So yeah, I feel that like basically Tad's doing what most Magic players do after they get frustrated with the deck not doing what you want it to, which is just go to red and pick up Goblin Chainwhirler.
Yeah, there's been a lot of success for people picking up Goblin Chainwhirlers thus far. You know, and so yeah, we see Tad doing the same thing right now.
Last week you had a theory that the Knight deck can take on the speed of the red deck. You know, obviously the game hasn't even started yet, but what do you think? Do you think that holds? If you had to make a prediction.
Yeah, I do. I mean, because if we look right now, we've got Knight of Malice. Most permanents in this deck are going to be white, which is going to make it a 3/2 first strike. That happens to battle the Goblin Chainwhirler pretty well. Ooh, okay, well, I guess that Knight's no longer available to Ryan here, but
apparently Tad doesn't want him to be able to do that against his Goblin Chainwhirler.
No, he does not.
Oh, here we go.
No Chainwhirler yet, but we do have Pia and Alar. Of course, if Tad did have the Chainwhirler, he'd probably want to wait, see maybe if Ryan plays a 1 toughness creature, or you can see he's got Hidden Stockpile and play an enchantment that actually makes 1/1. So Chainwhirler, maybe Hidden Stockpile is not real happy to see that.
Yeah, and you know, if you bring out Chandra's mum, you got a good chance of doing something, right? I mean, you know, that's this when you know you're in trouble. You're like, you know what? I'm bringing out a Goblin Chainwhirler and Chandra's mum to sort you out, man.
Yeah, we got the whole family. We got Chandra, we got Pia, and then I guess Chainwhirler's like an uncle, a cousin.
Yeah, exactly.
Something I don't know. Adopted.
That weird adopted son that no one really wants to hang out with.
Yeah, no one likes him, but you know, sometimes you just need him around.
That's me at Thanksgiving dinner, to be honest.
Yeah, you're the Goblin Chainwhirler.
Yeah, I'm literally
your family. Yeah, everyone wants to ban you, but they know it'd be bad for competitive balance.
Yeah, and they get mad at me spinning cutlery around my head.
Well, it looks like both decks have slightly slower starts than normal. These decks they play, you know, a bit of interaction with their opponent, but largely they're trying to play creatures in the early turns. But it looks like here both players have a lot of interactive cards instead of, you know, permanents on the battlefield. You know, Ryan's got, I think, a Cast Out. He's also got a Fatal Push. And then Tad, we could see he played a Braid as one of his first cards instead of a creature on turn 2.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely got that. Well, you'd expect them to be going all out, but without the creatures, both these decks are slowed down.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of creatures, History of Benalia, not technically a creature, but basically 2 creatures. So Ryan's got his Knight thing going on. He's also got his Knight of Grace in play, which, you know, we'll also get the benefits of History of Benalia.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tad his life is still looking pretty good.
Yeah, well, that's one of the main things against this Knight deck is staying high, because that way on that turn where History of Benalia goes to the graveyard, gives all your Knights +2/+1, you can survive, maybe take 8 or 12 damage, but you're still alive.
Yeah. Oh, this Chandra, she's out now.
Oh, there. Oh,
Ooh.
I see. That's a clever play there by Ryan. So, in order to kill a 3-mana creature with Fatal Push, he's got to have a permanent leave the battlefield for Revolt, which he was able to accomplish. Well, here come more Knights. Yeah. Let's see what happens here. So this is good. We get a little bit of a mid-range kind of game from both decks. Nobody's getting run over. Both decks are doing their thing.
Well, I will say one of the big things that I always look at in Magic is how many cards I've got left in my hand,
Yeah.
and I always know when I'm in trouble when I'm running low. And also
Yeah.
Ryan's hand is looking a little slim already, so he's doing a lot of early burnout, and Tad's still got a lot of life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But you know what? Look at the card that he just landed, though. See that big lion right there? That guy is.
It's one of the M19 cards.
Yeah,
right?
that guy is an M19 card. The card is not actually the lion, it's the guy sitting on it, and that's Valiant Knight, a card we talked about last time around, and that's going to give all of his other Knights +1/+1. So now we're going to be dealing with some very, very large Knights. Another thing that's awkward with that card is it's a 3/4, and we know one of Tad's main removal spells, Abrade, that only deals 3 damage.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. Can Chandra get rid of that Knight?
It could if it had more loyalty, but unfortunately she is not at least 3 loyalty, so she can't deal her 4 damage.
Ooh, here we go.
Ooh, the Hazoret with 2 cards in hand, so it can't attack or block. Oh, that is not necessarily what we want to see. Or in case if you dislike the red deck as much as many people do, it's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you want to see. Hazoret not attacking or blocking this turn. Now Ryan's got an interesting decision here because obviously he wants to kill Chandra, but Tad is only at 17, so he kind of has to make a decision of how to attack. Now he knows that Rekindling Phoenix, once it dies, oh, never mind, Rekindling Phoenix is not going to die. It's going to get exiled, which is an amazing, amazing swing for Ryan here.
Oh my gosh.
When your opponent starts counting, whenever I'll tell you, any game of Magic, when your opponent starts pointing and counting, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
So Tad's gonna try to do something here. Now he does still have this Hazoret, which is obviously an indestructible blocker. The question is, can he survive another turn? Let's see what happens. So he's gonna use Chandra to make some mana. That's usually good because that means he's got something good to cast. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, so Glorybringer is going to come out. It's going to be exerted to get that Knight off the table.
There's that Chainwhirler.
There's that Chainwhirler, everyone's favorite. Didn't have the opportunity to take down a creature, but you know what? A 3/3 Chainwhirler looks pretty good against 2/2 Knights.
Yeah, and the board's almost empty on Ryan's side now, so.
Yep. Well, I think in this particular game, he really needed that Valiant Knight to survive.
Yeah.
Because that Valiant Knight was not only making his Knights big, but it was also threatening to give him Double Strike, which is the activated ability of that card. I don't know why they decided a Lord needed to also give all your guys Double Strike, but
because First Strike isn't good enough with Knights, are you? That's what it is.
No.
If they're going to strike first, they're going to strike twice.
Yep, exactly. So, okay, well, you know what? History of Benalia, never a bad draw off the top, and that's exactly what Ryan's got here. So, okay, Tad gets to kind of have some choices here with Chandra. He could kill a Knight, but instead he's deciding to plus and see if he can do something with it. Okay. Turns out all he's going to do is 2 damage. But this is kind of, I think, where you want to see if you...
Double Chainwhirlers. Not what you want to see.
No. I mean, the thing is, Chainwhirlers, he's either like... You either love him or hate him. He's either the villain that everyone loves to hate or the villain that everyone just hates.
That History of Benalia is just pumping out those 2/2 Knights. But
yeah, well, it will go off next turn, which will make some very large Knights. The problem is, I think Glorybringer is getting ready to untap, and that could be really a big issue here for Ryan. He doesn't have, I don't think, a great answer to Glorybringer in his deck. And Mentor of the Meek, as much as we've seen that card take over, this is not the time you want to see it. You want to see it a little earlier in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're activating Hazoret, so Hazoret has done something.
Okay.
She's not just sitting there. She's doing something. And this is going to be kind of a pivotal turn here because both players have a really strong board presence. Life totals are, both low, so
and
let's see how
Tad's
Tad
got one
decides
card
to do
in his hand.
Yeah, this is one of those kind of turns where when you're playing, you know, and we talked about this earlier, you know, you really want to think through a turn like this because there's just a lot of permanence on the board. There's a lot of things that can and will happen the next turn. So you want to think through, okay, what's the best way to attack? You know, if my opponent draws, say, a removal spell or, you know, a bigger creature, what's going to happen? So that's kind of what is going through the players' minds at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. At this moment of sheer concentration on their faces. Everyone's like, oh, this is it. Oh.
Well, it turns out that Tad decided, you know what? I want to attack you for a lot.
Yeah.
And and Chainwhirler, I mean, the guy not only guns down your opponent's creatures, but hey, first strike, heck of an ability.
That one card's really letting him go in with Hazard as well. So.
Yup. So this makes the blocks very awkward because any double block on a Chainwhirler is not going to work because first strike's going to kill one of the knights, and then, you know, Chainwhirler will survive. Okay, so it looks like...
Defensive play.
Oh, okay, cool. So this is interesting. So Ryan, what he's going to get to do is he's going to get to sacrifice his blockers to Hidden Stockpile. Which is an enchantment, gives you a little bit of value. He's able to scry here, see if he can try to find something to help him. Probably a Johnny is what, you know, one good thing to look for, obviously, but we'll have to see. It looks like the red deck, the Menace, everyone's favorite
Goblin Menace.
Goblin Rabble-Mask.
This is looking brutal now.
Into Chainwhirler into...
Oh, we've got a proxied Viashino there.
Oh, yeah, so that's a new card in this deck, Viashino Pyromancer. And that's a 2-mana, 2/1, which in the land of Chainwhirler doesn't sound great, but when it comes in, it deals 2 damage to either a player or a planeswalker, which can be huge.
And game ending, apparently.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of reach once you hit your opponent directly, but it also can take out some really problematic planeswalkers. It can finish off a Johnny, who we've seen is very strong, and other Chandras. When Chandra minuses, she goes down to 1 loyalty, picks it right off.
So sadly, we've seen the one thing we didn't want to see, which is the red deck win again. So, you know, M19 did bring us the Knight deck, which obviously was great against Approach the Second Sun, but now that red deck just, the white deck had it initially, but the red deck just took it out.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, these Chainwhirler decks and the most recent Magic Pro Tour, I think it was it 6 or 7 of the top 8 were these decks. So, you know, these decks have been on the scene and been doing exactly what we just saw, you know, making a lot of people scoop up their cards.
Yeah, being red and winning.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going round into the second round now. This is Ryan's chance to fight back. We're rooting for you here, Ryan. We need these knights to do it. And obviously they're siding in now the you know, against what they think they're going to need to take each other out. Yeah, so
this red deck is a little different than some of the others. We want to try to feature one of the other flavors of red decks, you know, so it's not just the version that we've seen. And so the reason this version is a little different is it plays out slightly slower than some of the real fast versions that play Bowmount Courier. This version instead has cards like Sweltering Suns in the sideboard, so Taz's going to want to bring those in. Those are going to deal 3 damage to all creatures, which is probably about the size of the knights.
Nice.
On the other hand, Ryan, a lot of the sideboard that we do have built is kind of for more controlling matchups. Our thought is, okay, and you know what, in creature matchups, we're usually pretty good as it is. Yeah. So our sideboard's got cards like Duress that are strong against maybe a blue deck, but maybe not exactly right here.
Yeah. Okay, this will be interesting to see what they go with.
Yeah, all I saw so far is I saw Ryan look at a creature with 1 toughness and immediately take it out of his deck. So if that's not the Chainwhirler test, I don't know what is. One thing that'll be interesting to see is, will Ryan choose to keep in Mentor of the Meek? It's an interesting tension because Mentor of the Meek is a strong card at pulling you ahead, and especially when both players are kind of trading resources. At the same time, though, it is a 3-mana 2/2, so it will die to the likes of Magma Spray. It also doesn't really block or attack into Chainwhirler at all. Yep. So I'm not, you know, and I don't really know the answer, honestly. It's possible that you're supposed to leave in these mentors because you just want to generate card advantage. You want to try to snowball, you know, go over the top. But maybe they're just not right. I don't know. Yeah. We're going to have to see what Ryan decides.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, I feel that if the Mentor of the Week could come out earlier in the last game, it would help Ryan pad out his hand.
Oh, yeah. If one of the big interactions in this deck is playing your Mentor and then, after that, your History of Benalia. Yeah. Because then you just immediately get to draw 2 cards off of the Benalia. That is a very strong play because, you know, until M19, typically you just play your turn 3 history Benalia, right?
Absolutely.
You're just going to play it on turn 3 every time. And in this deck, sometimes that's going to be right. But having the option to go, okay, Mentor, you know what, now I'm going to play history, I'm going to draw a card immediately, and I'm going to draw a card next turn too, you know, that might send some matchups be a better play.
Interesting. All right, so here we go. We're moving into this next round now. Ryan's got a very interesting hand.
Yeah, I'm starting to see some copies of History of Benalia, and as we talked about, that is our main engine in the deck. It's very important. So that's always good to see. As far as Tad is concerned, a little bit of a, okay, you know what? I was going to say a slightly slower draw, but you know what?
He's got the opening Chainwhirler in the hand, which
does have, there we go. Yeah. Does have a Chainwhirler. Interestingly, he decided to play a tap land this turn, but it's a very smart play. Cinder Barrens is not the strongest Magic card. It's just basically a tap land that taps for 2 colors, but it's great to get it into play on turn 1. That way it doesn't help, you know, hurt you from developing your board later.
Exactly. Oh, is that Black Knight back again?
Yep. And so this is interesting, you know, because Ryan could decide to just, oh no, he can't decide to play History of Benalia. Do you see that? He's got 2 swamps. Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's not going to work. So even though he has the history, he's not able to play it. Oh man, and that Knight of Malice just got taken care of by a Braid. So we might be seeing another red deck winning.
Yeah. Ryan Zip, bring those knights out. Oh, there's Pia.
Okay.
And you know what? When Pia's out, Chandra isn't far behind.
Yeah, that's true. They do follow each other.
Yeah.
You know, I will say though, at least I'll say this for Ryan. At least he does not have a board of things that like die to a Chainwhirler, for example.
True. Aggressive plays going in again while he can.
You know, I think our deck plays something on the order of like 18 white sources though, or maybe even a little more because it's got an Evolving Wild. So it's a little tough to not have the double white when, you know, I think mathematically you're going to have it most games. Yeah, so here we go. I mean, this red deck kind of doing its thing, and Tad making his land drops, having everything right. And
Phoenix is back.
Yeah, Rekindling Phoenix is going to be kind of just a brick wall at this point. Even if Ryan is able to play another permanent.
There's that second white land, but not when you need it.
Yeah, that's exactly not what we want to see, which is a tapped 4th land. Oh man, we just have to pass the turn. So. Yeah, I mean, but you know, we've all played games of Magic like this. It does happen. It's unfortunate when it happens, but you know, it's just in a 2-color deck, you wouldn't see it happen as often in say like a 3-color deck. Yeah, but in this particular case, that's what we're trying to see. Okay. Oh, I see. So
painful. Gosh.
Oof. Yeah. See, this is really kind of been a story of mana bases, and this is something you want to think about when you're building a mana base or when you're playing. You can see how Tad has been able to use his mana really effectively. He played the turn 1 Cinder Barrens, even though he had a 1-drop in his hand, because it allowed him to develop his board every turn.
Yeah, and in the first turn of the game, you're not as at risk, especially in Standard. So it's absolutely fine to give up that turn to make sure you don't have a problem later.
Exactly.
So Ryan's still being brave. I mean, he's still going in for the attacks of the knights when it makes sense to.
Yeah.
Looking at a history coming in now.
I think we're finally going to see this history, but I think it's a couple turns too late.
Yeah.
Because Ryan can barely survive an attack with this Rekindling Phoenix and this Thopter token from Pia Nalar. But I'm not sure really what his endgame is after that, because unless he draws one of his copies of Cast Out, that Rekindling Phoenix isn't going anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so pretty much a 1-turn clock, and I think we're kind of just trying to draw Cast Out.
Oh, gosh.
Everyone's favorite combo.
There he is.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, we had a sort of answer to that. But, you know, as you know, if your opponent plays a Soulscar Mage and then plays a Goblin Chainwhirler, that's -1/-1 counters on all your creatures.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is looking like about all she wrote, unfortunately. But this was a story, a little bit of mana base, a little bit of mana base not being exactly what the doctor ordered. We had a Pain Lamb that dealt Ryan some damage, and we didn't have a second white source.
Yeah. I mean, and that I think is probably going to be the weakness with the black-white deck, right?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. That's
there we
game.
go. Yeah, I mean,
So
it's just one of those things, I guess. Some games of Magic decided, unfortunately, by mana.
So, I mean, you know, obviously we're new into M19 now. It's really only just come out. I'm curious, do you think that the red deck wins is still going to dominate now?
I will say this. It's definitely true that the red deck will continue to be strong, and any deck that you build, you're going to have to really test it against that deck to see if it's able to beat it. But I think that Standard becoming larger with a new set entering without any cards leaving will open up the door for some new strategies. Will they be as good as Goblin Chainwhirler? Time will tell. Yep. But I hope for the sake of variety, and I have my fingers crossed, that the answer is yes.
Well, thank you ever so much for watching us here. We're here at Pat's Games playing Magic the Gathering. And every week on Mondays, we're going to be playing Magic the Gathering for you and trying to give you a vision into the future, trying to predict what the meta is going to be before it comes out, and even using as many of the spoiler cards as we can get our hands on to show you. Yeah. Once again, don't forget, you've got an opportunity to win a box of your choice from any of the current sets that we've got available here at Pat's Games. All you have to do is leave a comment down below and share the video, and we'll enter you into our monthly draw. From Ryan, Tad, Aryeh, and myself, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nights at the Game Table.